I'd like to touch on what Jenny spoke about earlier with, the different the platforms and also audience development. And like, how do you engage? Because it's two different audiences, but how do you ensure that it happens? We always talk about it, but it's the implementation part of it and coming up with mechanics on, okay, we realize there is a problem, we realize there's a gap, so how do we close that gap? Through platforms like this, through initiatives like ours, how do we come up with mechanics to close those gaps?
The fact that we are here, it's part of that process. But I think there's a need to put practical efforts into place. And to perhaps, my proposition would be maybe the next planning of this fair and other events that are related to this kind of activities, people with certain minds and certain expertise should be brought in, not only to come and perform and this other thing and talk, but be part of shaping the kind of idea. And there are South Africa and Africa lack no resources. We do have human resources capacity in terms of thinking, in terms of innovation. But the saddest part is that the economics of it, with the finances, those who think tend to be excluded in the process of thinking. But yet, they will be called, for public displays. So we come here as schools, as restaurants, and perform. So maybe that model needs to be reinvented so that we are part of those processes where the planning, the thinking, the structuring, the arrangement. And this is the power of thinking creatively and intellectually. So that next time when I'm here, I'm not sitting here only. Maybe this talk should be taking place in Bukup, or should be taking place somewhere in Kailicha, or somewhere in Langa. So that this kind of boundaries that are artificial but yet are so concrete can be traversed, by means of efforts. Because it's easy to come to town, but it's always difficult to go to town. Even the whole project of Mamoneng, it's a mission. People like to go to Langa or Guguletu, it's an adventure. And it takes bloody 15 minutes to drive. Give me a break. And people have luxury cars, even if they bump on the hump, they don't even feel it. And yet it's a mission to go there. So what I'm saying is, creatively, there are possibilities to do that, where we have fun, but at the same time, we are shifting things softly, because you don't need to force people to do. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult. The last point I wanted to make while I have a mic on me is that it's also we need to think differently. I mean that differently in terms of the models in which we put in place as to what art means. One of the things I've enjoyed with the fair, of course, is about marketing, about selling, but certain components need to be brought. This idea of what art is, it needs constantly to be questioned. Once you question it, you open it up for those who feel like it's elitist, it's bourgeoisie, I can't fit in, it's academic, it's scholarly, it's business. So once we rupture that, the definition, but also not only the content, but the form. Because things don't come in terms of meaning, they come in terms of the way they appear. Once you change that, you open it up. So, of course, I'm just enjoying the platform of just